The door creaked open on silent hinges, and there they were. My husband Mark and my best friend Sarah, tangled in our marital bed like thieves caught in the act. The afternoon sun slanted through the half-drawn blinds, casting striped shadows across their sweat-glistened skin. Mark's back arched, his familiar grunt echoing off the walls, while Sarah's fingers clawed into his shoulders, her laughter turning to a gasp as she spotted me first. Time froze in that visceral punch, the metallic tang of betrayal in my mouth, the heat flushing my face like a slap, my heart slamming against my ribs as if trying to escape the cage of my chest. I dropped the grocery bags, apples rolling across the hardwood floor like accusations, and the world narrowed to the raw, animal fury exploding inside me. How dare they? In our home, on sheets I'd washed that morning. Elena! Mark scrambled up, yanking the duvet over them like a pathetic shield. His face, usually so composed with that salesman charm, twisted into panic. Sarah buried her head in his chest, her auburn hair I'd braided 100 times during girls' nights, spilling like a betrayal of its own. I couldn't move. Heartbreak clawed up my throat, hot and choking, mingling with a humiliation that burned deeper than any fire. 10 years of marriage, 15 of friendship with Sarah, all reduced to this pornographic tableau. How long? My voice came out a whisper, cracked and foreign. Mark stammered, pulling on boxers with fumbling hands. It's not Elena, please. Let me explain. Sarah peeked out, her eyes wide with feigned shock. We didn't mean for you to find out like this. Her words dripped with that syrupy concern she always used, the one that made her seem so empathetic. But now it rang hollow, manipulative, a knife twist in my gut. Rage surged, overwriting the numbness. I lunged forward, grabbing a vase from the nightstand, the one Sarah had gifted us for our anniversary, and hurled it at the wall. Shards exploded like my shattering trust, raining down in glittering fragments. Explain. You've been fucking in my bed. My best friend. The words tore from me, raw and unfiltered, resentment boiling over years of overlooked slights, Mark's late nights at the office, Sarah's lingering hugs, the inside jokes I'd dismissed as harmless. Mark held up his hands, placating. It just happened. We're in love, Elena. I was going to tell you. In love. The phrase hit like a gut punch, humiliation deepening into a black pit of self-doubt. Was I that blind? That undesirable? I thought of our life. The cozy suburban house in Maplewood. The shared dreams of kids we'd postponed for his career. Sarah, my confidante since college. The one who'd held me through miscarriages and job losses. Betrayal layered upon betrayal, fueling an obsession that flickered to life even then, visions of their ruin flashing in my mind like dark fantasies. I fled, grabbing my keys, the door slamming behind me like a finality. Driving aimlessly through rain-slicked streets, wipers thumping like a heartbeat, I replayed it all. Denial whispered, maybe it's a mistake. But the image burned, indelible. Heartbreak morphed into cold resolve as I pulled into a motel lot, the neon sign buzzing like my frayed nerves. Alone in the dingy room, stale air thick with cigarette ghosts, I curled on the bed, sobs racking me until exhaustion claimed victory. Yet beneath the grief, a seed of vengeance took root. Quiet, strategic, born of the moral conflict tearing me. Did I deserve this? Or would I make them pay? The next morning, reality crashed in with Mark's texts. We need to talk. Come home. Sarah's. I'm so sorry, call me. I ignored them, resentment hardening like ice. Instead, I drove to my late Aunt Lydia's empty house on the outskirts of town, the one I'd been tasked with clearing out after her death 3 months ago. The place smelled of mothballs and faded lavender, dust motes dancing in the weak light filtering through lace curtains. I needed solitude, a space untouched by their poison. Rifling through her cluttered study, yellowed papers, antique clocks ticking ominously, I found it. A sealed envelope tucked in a hidden drawer of her oak desk, my name scrawled in her elegant script. Heart pounding with curiosity amid the chaos of my life, I tore it open. Inside, a letter and a bank statement. Dearest Elena, If you're reading this, I'm gone. But I've left you a gift. $70,000, transferred to a private account in your name only. Your husband never knew about it. I saw the way he eyed my estate during visits, that greedy glint. Use it wisely, not for him or that circle of vipers you call friends. Start anew. Remember, fortune favors the bold and the betrayed. Aunt Lydia. The bank statement confirmed it. $70,000 untouched. Shock rippled through me, mingling with guilt. Why hadn't I visited her more? But beneath that, a spark ignited. This wasn't just money. It was a secret weapon, hidden from Mark's prying eyes. He'd always handled our finances, dismissing my input as overthinking. Now, fantasies of justice bloomed. Use it to expose them. Hire a detective. Or something darker, more calculated. Doubt crept in as I pocketed the papers. Was revenge worth it? Moral conflict gnawed. Obsession could consume me, turn me into a monster. Yet the humiliation festered, driving me forward. I called a lawyer friend, voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. Hypothetically, I said, if a spouse cheats, what's the play? Her advice was pragmatic. Gather evidence, protect assets. But as I hung up, plans formed in the quiet of Aunt Lydia's house, the creak of floorboards echoing my resolve. I'd play the broken wife, let them underestimate me. Subtle hints of my scheme emerged in my mind, a faint smile at the thought of their downfall, a calculated text to Mark, fine. Let's talk tomorrow. That evening, back at the motel, I obsessed over details. The rain pattered against the window like Morse code warnings. Fear whispered, what if they fight back? But resentment drowned it out. Mark's motivation became clear in hindsight. He'd complained about our stagnant life, Sarah's about her dead-end job. They sought excitement, escape at my expense. Layered, yes. Mark's charm hid insecurity. Sarah's loyalty masked envy. But that didn't excuse them. The meeting came at a neutral coffee shop, the aroma of espresso clashing with the bitterness in my throat. Mark arrived first, disheveled, eyes red-rimmed with what I hoped was guilt. Elena, I messed up. But we can fix this. Fix. Heartbreak flared anew. With Sarah, my best friend. He leaned in, voice low. It started innocently, drinks after work. She's going through stuff too. Sarah joined us then, sliding into the booth with apologetic grace. I never wanted to hurt you. Mark and I. It's real. Their words felt scripted, manipulative, suppressing my rage into a simmer. I feigned tears, letting them see vulnerability. How could you? But inwardly I catalogued. Mark's fidgeting hands, Sarah's avoided gaze. Hints of hidden motives. Mark mentioned financial stress. Sarah alluded to starting fresh. Were they plotting more? As we parted, me agreeing to think, suspense built in my chest. Back at Aunt Lydia's, I hired a private investigator with a chunk of the gift. The transaction anonymous. Dig deep, I instructed, voice laced with cold resolve. Affair details, finances, everything. Days blurred into quiet calculation. I moved into the house fully, its antique furniture a comforting armor. Inner thoughts warred. Fantasies of confrontation gave way to doubt. Am I becoming vindictive? Guilt over Aunt Lydia's secrecy nagged, but obsession won. The PI's first report arrived via encrypted email. Photos of Mark and Sarah at motels, emails plotting divorce. And a bombshell. Mark had been siphoning from our joint account, funneling to Sarah. Betrayal deepened. They'd planned to leave me broke. Rage solidified into plan. Use the $70,000 to invest in Mark's failing real estate firm anonymously, then sabotage it. Morally gray. But poetic. Tension rose as I wired funds, heart racing at the risk. Foreshadowing their doom in my mind, I texted Mark. I need space. But we'll sort finances soon. Let them stew. The weeks dragged like a slow fuse, each day layering suspense atop my simmering resolve. I holed up in Aunt Lydia's house, The grandfather clock's relentless tick marking time like a countdown. Mornings brought denial's whispers, maybe forgive, move on, but afternoons fueled resentment, replaying their entangled bodies in vivid, torturous detail. Evenings were for planning. Spreadsheets on my laptop, the screen's glow casting shadows across the wallpapered walls, illuminating columns of numbers that could topple empires. The $70,000 burned in my secret account, a fortune waiting to be weaponized. Moral conflict raged. Revenge felt justified, yet it twisted me, birthing guilt over the woman I'd become. Was this obsession healthy? Or a poison seeping into my soul? The PI's updates heightened the tension, subtle hints emerging like cracks in a facade. Mark and Sarah had moved in together into a sleek apartment downtown. Paid for, I learned, with funds he'd skimmed from our savings. Emails revealed their motivations. Mark's fear of mediocrity, Sarah's envy of my perfect life. Elena's too naive, one message read. We'll take what's ours. Layered complexities surfaced. Mark's childhood poverty drove his greed. Sarah's failed marriages her desperation. But empathy warred with fury. Their pain didn't erase mine. I initiated contact carefully, a text to Sarah. Can we meet? For closure. She agreed, perhaps sensing weakness. We met at a park bench overlooking the river, wind whipping leaves like scattered thoughts. Sarah arrived in a coat I'd lent her years ago, the sight igniting humiliation anew. Elle, I'm glad you reached out. Her voice was soft, manipulative. This has been hell for me too. Hell. I suppressed rage, forcing a tremulous smile. Tell me why. After everything. She sighed, eyes downcast. Mark and I connected. You were always so busy, strong. I felt invisible. Busy. I'd built our life while she partied. But I nodded, probing subtly. And the money. Mark mentioned stress. Her gaze flickered, foreshadowing guilt. He's handling it. We'll be fine. Fine. The word fueled my cold resolve. As we parted, her hug felt like Judas's kiss. That night, I executed Phase 1. Using an alias, I invested $50,000 of Aunt Lydia's gift into Mark's real estate venture, a silent partner via a shell company. The PI had uncovered his desperation for capital. He'd been courting shady investors. My infusion came with strings, anonymous demands for risky deals, ones I knew would implode. Suspense built as days passed. I shadowed them discreetly, the thrill of secrecy mingling with fear. What if they traced it? Inner thoughts spiraled. Fantasies of their bankruptcy clashed with doubt. Am I crossing into cruelty? Guilt over using Lydia's money for vengeance nagged, but heartbreak justified it. She'd seen Mark's true colors. This honored her. Mark called next, voice strained. Elena, we need to discuss divorce. Assets. I met him at our old house, now echoing with emptiness. The air smelled of stale coffee and her perfume, Sarah's. He paced the living room, papers in hand. I'll be fair. Half the house, savings. Fair. Resentment boiled. What's left in savings, Mark? After your expenses. He blanched, suppressed rage flashing. What are you implying? I feigned ignorance, but inwardly catalogued his sweat-beaded brow. Just asking. As he left, I planted the seed. Good luck with the business. Heard you're expanding. His eyes narrowed, subtle tension. Back at Lydia's, the PI reported. Mark had bitten, pouring my investment into a fraudulent land deal. Hidden motives revealed. He and Sarah planned to flip it, flee with profits, leaving me with debts. Obsession peaked. I wired the remaining $20,000 to a whistleblower fund, tipping off regulators anonymously. Moral grayness enveloped me. Was this justice or destruction? Fear of consequences loomed, but resolve hardened. The reckoning came swiftly, suspense cresting like a wave. News broke. Mark's firm raided for fraud, investors fleeing. I watched from afar, heart pounding, as police cars swarmed his office, the flashing lights reflecting off rain-slicked pavement, sirens wailing like banshees. Mark's arrest photo splashed online. Hollow-eyed, defeated. Sarah, implicated as his assistant, faced charges too. I confronted them at the precinct, feigning shock. Mark, behind glass, pleaded, "Elena, help me. It was a mistake." Mistake. Rage surged, but I kept it leashed. "Like us." Sarah in the waiting area wept. "Elle, please. We didn't mean." "You meant everything," I whispered, voice laced with cold triumph. "Enjoy the fallout." Walking away, poetic justice washed over me. Their empire crumbled, assets seized. But the twist struck like lightning. In the chaos, regulators uncovered Mark's hidden offshore account, siphoned from our marriage. It held $150,000, mine by right. Combined with Lydia's untouched remainder, it seeded my new fortune. Yet unexpected consequences hit. Guilt over their ruin mingled with freedom. I invested wisely, starting a boutique real estate firm. Ironic, thriving. Months later, thriving and alone, I reflected in Lydia's renovated study, the clock now silent. Revenge had forged me anew, but at what cost? The emotional scar lingered, a reminder. Betrayal births monsters, but sometimes fortune from the ashes. In the end, their prison sentences were light. Probation, poverty. Mine. A life reclaimed, morally scarred but unbowed. The $70,000 hadn't just led to wealth. It unveiled my own darkness, a twist I never foresaw.